You don't just like your favorite celebrity, you need them. You defend them when they're wrong. You feel genuinely hurt when strangers criticize them online. You know their birthday, their ex's name, their childhood trauma, but you've never been in the same room as them, not even close. And here's the uncomfortable part. You don't think any of this is strange. Neither did I. Let's start simple. You know how you have a favorite actor, singer, or athlete? Someone whose videos you watch, whose life you follow, whose name you get excited to hear. That's normal. That's admiration. But there's a line, and most people don't know when they crossed it. When admiration quietly becomes obsession, when that person starts to feel less like a stranger and more like a close friend, even though they have no idea you exist. Psychologists often refer to this pattern as celebrity worship, sometimes described as celebrity worship syndrome. In 2002, researchers, including James Allen, Lynn McCutcheon, and Rence Lange, developed a celebrity attitude scale. Later, psychologist John Maltby and his colleagues at the University of Leicester expanded the research and explored how celebrity worship relates to personality and mental well-being. What they found was that celebrity worship isn't one thing. It exists on a spectrum with 3 distinct levels. The first level is entertainment social. You follow a celebrity because they're fun, interesting, and entertaining. You talk about them with friends. This is where most people are, and it's completely normal. The second level is intense, personal. Here, things begin to shift. You start feeling like you have a real relationship with this person. Their wins feel like your wins. Their pain feels like your pain. You think about them more than makes rational sense. The third level is borderline pathological. This is where it becomes genuinely concerning. People at this level may agree with statements like, if my favorite celebrity asked me to do something illegal, I might consider it. The boundary between their own identity and the celebrity's identity has become blurred. Here's where it gets psychologically interesting. Why does this happen at all? Why would a human brain form such a deep emotional bond with someone it has never actually met? Because your brain can respond to repeated exposure as if familiarity means closeness, even when you consciously know you've never met the person. Research in psychology suggests that repeatedly seeing a person's face and hearing their voice can create a strong sense of familiarity. Robin Dunbar's work on human social connection helps explain why these feelings can become surprisingly powerful. This is called a parasocial relationship. The word para means beside. It's a one-sided relationship that feels emotionally real to one person, while the other person doesn't even know they exist. Our brains evolved in small, social groups, not in a world where we repeatedly see the faces of millions of strangers through screens. The algorithm does the rest. It keeps showing you the same face until that feeling of familiarity grows stronger, almost as if this person is part of your social world. Now here's where it gets more complicated and more honest. Maltby and his colleagues found a pattern in the celebrity attitude scale scores. People who scored higher on celebrity worship often reported a weaker or less stable sense of personal identity. But here's what's important to understand. This doesn't automatically mean celebrity worship causes a weak identity. It could also work the other way. People who are already uncertain about who they are may be more likely to form stronger attachments to celebrities in the first place. It's even possible that both are influenced by other psychological factors. What the research does suggest is this. For some people, a celebrity becomes a template, a ready-made identity to borrow from. Their style, their beliefs, their way of speaking, their values. It provides direction when your own direction feels unclear. It provides a sense of belonging when you're not sure where you actually belong. And that, by itself, isn't automatically unhealthy. Admiration isn't the problem. Looking up to someone isn't the problem. The concern begins when your identity becomes so dependent on that person that criticism of them feels like criticism of you. When their controversy feels like your personal loss. When their fall from grace feels like the ground disappearing beneath your feet. At that point, it's no longer really about them. It's revealing something deeper, an unmet psychological need that found a face to attach itself to. Social media didn't create any of this, but it removed many of the natural limits that once kept it in check. Before the internet, celebrities existed at a visible distance. You saw them in films, in magazines, on television, clearly produced, clearly separate from you. The gap was obvious. Now a celebrity can talk directly to you in a casual video at midnight. They show you their kitchen, their anxiety, their messy room, their unfiltered thoughts. The distance collapses. The illusion of intimacy becomes almost total. Platforms are financially incentivized to maximize engagement, and content that creates a sense of personal connection often keeps people watching longer. None of this makes you stupid. None of this makes you broken. It makes you human, running a brain that evolved for a world that no longer exists, inside a digital environment that constantly competes for your attention. But here's the question this leaves you with. If the people you follow disappeared tomorrow, their accounts deleted, their content gone, who would you be? If that question makes you uncomfortable, it's worth asking why. Next time, why your brain is wired to copy the people around you, even when you're completely certain you're thinking for yourself.